All right. So here's what we're gonna do. We're not gonna beat around the bush. Okay, we're not gonna fucking pretend that we don't know what's up, what's up is up, and what's down is down. Okay. The soft L-Cancel squad is primarily represented right in terms of 2021 discourse. The soft L-Cancel squad primarily is Hacks Money. The hard L-Cancel squad is primarily Leffen. Hacks Leffen drama happened 2 weeks ago, last week, whatever the fuck, right? And when I see drama like that, I freak out, and I don't want to. I did a stream where I addressed it, but I did not have fun, I would say, doing the stream. What I did have fun with, though, was there was a couple of pages in the thing about, you know, how to L-Cancel and all this stuff. And I like the game, okay? Again, this is my whole spiel. What keeps bringing me back to doing Melee streams is I love Super Smash Bros. Melee. I just like the game, okay? I could give Nathan's hot dogs about, you know, all the fucking interpersonal beef and drama and conflict and all this stuff. But if you're gonna start geeking out about the game, then we can geek out about the game. And so I'm like, wait a minute, there is actually a large point of contention in something that every single player, when they pick up a game controller, has to do 1,000,000 times in a session, which is L-Cancel. And it doesn't seem like, and you have two, you know, I would say great minds of the game who are coming at odds, and no one's here to tie break it. No one's here. You know, I think that most of us are just kind of sitting on the sidelines munching popcorn, right? But I'm here to say, you know what? Let's break this down. Let me explain, because I bet a lot of you guys don't even. I suspect a lot of your eyes just gloss over with this shit. You're like, okay, what the fuck are they even talking about? This is too complicated. So I'm gonna break it down for you. I'm gonna tell you exactly what the fuck is what. So this is gonna be fun for those of you who like just geeking out about the game. But I think what we're gonna start with, how we're gonna kick this off, is just to fully kind of make sure we're hitting this from all angles here. Let me first describe the main point of contention, okay? Because this is how this got brought to my attention years ago. Then, those of you who are here in Twitch chat, we're gonna do something that might not make it to the YouTube video. We're actually gonna go and we're gonna watch, because both Hacks and Leffen put out videos. We're not gonna watch the whole videos because some of them are kind of, I think one of them, at least one of them is very long. But we're gonna watch a bit of their videos, kind of presenting their arguments, okay? Why L-canceling one way is better versus the other. And then we're gonna tie break, and I'm gonna show you guys my conclusions, give you guys some examples, and then maybe we all learn something. Maybe we meme and we're still just munching popcorn, but at least we feel like we had a fun evening together on Twitch.tv. All right, so this is basically what you need to know about why this is even an argument in the first place. What's the big deal? So in Super Smash Bros. Melee, here's my controller. I'm gonna jump. That's the Y button. I jump. I do an aerial. Maybe I'm doing a nair. I hit the A button, right? And then as I'm landing, I need to hit one of 3 buttons to make sure that my move has half the landing lag as normal, okay? One of those buttons is, I can press L, I can press R, or I can press Z. They call it L-canceling, but you can actually use any of these 3 buttons. I know, it's a confusing name. I think there's people who say, I think this might even be like a backronym or whatever, but people say that L-cancel might actually stand for lag cancel. And L stands for lag. To which I say, like, then shouldn't they have just said lag cancel? Like, it's not like you're losing any syllables, right? Lag is 1 syllable, L is 1 syllable. I don't feel like, whatever. You're gonna press one of these 3 buttons before you land, and it's gonna cut your landing lag in half, which is really important, right? Because, like, if you're playing Fox and you want to go for, like, a drill into a shine and have it combo, it's like a staple Fox bread and butter combo. Got to be able to drill in your shine. Well, you need to L-cancel that. Falco doing dare shine, you need to L-cancel that. So you have to do it. You basically have to do it if you don't play, like, I don't know, Peach or Jigglypuff. And even those characters, you kind of need to learn it eventually. You need to use it sometimes. Peach is usually doing float aerials, but, you know, sometimes you need L-cancel. So what's the difference, right? What did all this conflict about Hacks saying, you know, you got L-cancel with Z, Leffen saying you got L-cancel with the hard press of the shoulder buttons. Well, here's the fundamental difference is, if you L-cancel with one of the shoulder buttons by clicking it all the way in, we call that a hard L-cancel. You can also call it a digital L-cancel, because you're going from, you know, digital meaning on or off, right? A binary. Are you pressing the button or aren't you? Digital L-cancel. I will usually call this a hard L-cancel. You are inputting a tech because you're doing a hard press. And the way teching works in Super Smash Bros. Melee, either you knew this, probably many of you guys in the Twitch chat know this consciously. Some of you guys on YouTube might not realize this, but you've probably intuited it by now. You've realized this kind of subconsciously, at least. The way teching works in Melee is if you get hit by a move and you're gonna tumble into the ground, right? And you're gonna bounce. There's that green animation if you miss your tech, and there's those yellow sparks if you hit your tech. If you hit R, L, or R before you hit the ground, within 20 frames of you hitting the ground, then you're gonna tech successfully. However, for the next 40 frames, after you hit the L or R button with a hard press, if you hit the ground in any of those frames, you get locked out from teching. And so this is basically, I mean, to this day, this is one of those happy accidents of Melee. This adds a lot of depth to a lot of situations that would otherwise be, you know, there would just be a clear right answer. But this was either a genius move from the developers or just a happy accident that turned into an accidental genius move. But you have to be very smart about when you press the L and R buttons, because this is how you get tech trapped, right? You can you see this all the time with things like Luigi's comboing spacies. Really common example with Luigi, right? You're gonna do like up throw, up smash. They tried to tech the up throw or something like that. Even Fox did those. Fox, you go for up throw, up smash at 0, up throw, dash, up smash. 100% of almost 100 times out of 100 times, people will miss the tech because they're often trying to tech your up throw because they're assuming you're gonna miss your dash up smash. It is a tight window. So up throw, up smash. If you do up throw, dash, up smash on somebody in the Fox Ditto, often they'll try to tech the up throw, but then the up smash hits them, pops them back into the air, and now they can't tech anymore because when they land, well, they inputted tech, you know, within that 40 frame window that they got locked out of teching, and so you land on the ground. You can't tech, and you get just a huge follow-up. And the way to be able to tell that someone missed their tech is that green bounce. I just call it green bounce. I don't know if that's like the official name for it. I just call it green bounce because it's green and you bounce. People always know what I'm talking about when I say green bounce, so I say green bounce. Basically, it's a missed tech, okay? And so when it comes to L-canceling, the people who are the TLDR for you guys is the people who are soft L-canceling, which until very recently was me 100%. I was 100% a soft L-canceler. The people who were soft L-canceling were saying, this is the argument. You shouldn't hard press your L button because you can just, see this? See this, hear this? You can, that's a full press. You hear that little clicky noise. But you can L-cancel just by doing this. Just pushing it in a little bit. Not all the way down. That'd be a hard L-cancel. You just push it in a little bit. Soft L-cancel. AKA analog L-cancel. Right? And the argument was, if you're doing the soft L-cancel, well, you're never locking yourself out of your tech window. So you're never going to get into a situation where you go for an aerial, you go for your L-cancel on your aerial, but then you get hit with something unexpected, and now, whoopsie daisy, I tried to L-cancel my aerial, I can't tech anymore. That was the accepted conventional wisdom for why to soft L-cancel. It's better because you don't input a tech, so you'll never get locked out of a tech. And this is true. This is very true. However, I think Leffen raises an interesting, in fact, I would even say that is the default argument. I would actually say that this has kind of been the wisdom amongst knowledgeable Melee players in more recent years was this is the better way to L-cancel. Because it makes sense, right? You're never locking yourself out of teching. You can always choose when to tech. So always soft L-cancel. And again, you can accomplish the soft L-cancel by either soft pressing your shoulder button or just pressing Z. Z will never lock you out of a tech. Z will never lock you out of a tech. So it's also a soft L-cancel, right? Now, Leffen's argument, which is, I would say, kind of a newer one and an interesting one, and one that I think holds a lot of merit on its own, which I think is kind of cool, is, and I take a little bit of issue with, we're going to watch this in a little bit, Hax's video on the best way to L-cancel in SSBM. I take a little bit of issue with this video. Well, we're going to get into it, but I feel like he didn't really address Leffen's argument. I feel like both sides are talking over each other a little bit. They're not really addressing the arguments of the other side, I feel. Okay, but more on that in a second. Okay. Leffen's argument is TLDR. when you tick and you L-cancel at the same time by doing a hard press, that's actually an option select. It's actually something you often want. You actually want to input a tech when you L-cancel a lot of the time, because there are a lot of situations, as it turns out, especially at lower percents, especially with certain characters, where it turns out you would want to tech there in case you trade with something, and especially if you're holding down because you're fast following your rail or something, you're going to get a built-in ASDI down input, which is going to let you do one of those ground techs. And maybe you've seen this happen. This has happened to me a million times, where I'll go for a dash attack with punish on like a Falco. Imagine a Falco's coming at me with a down air or something, and he's holding down. He hard presses the L-cancel attack, and I go for a dash attack to scoop him to get a confirm or something right into an up smash, and he gets a ground tech. And you know, that is actually something that can happen if you're using ASDI down and hard press L-cancel. So even though, yes, theoretically, or well, in practice also, not just theoretically, you are going to get locked out of your tech window sometimes. Leffen's argument is basically, if you're going to default to one or the other, hard press or soft press, you should default to hard press, because it turns out there are a lot of situations, according to Leffen, where the hard press will give you a tech input that you wanted anyway. And yes, this is a real option select, a real FGC vernacular approved. I know that FGC vernacular, FGC diction, you know, proper FGC lingo has been on the forefront of Twitter's brain lately with this whole Kazuya is a Shoto nonsense. So I know that we're really trying to do right by the fighting gamers right now, but I'm here to tell you this is a real option select, as in you are actually, you know, doing an input that is basically causing something to maybe or maybe not happen, depending on what actually the opponent does, which is kind of cool. Okay, so if you're watching along on YouTube, here's where I don't know how much of this footage is going to make it into the YouTube video, but for those of you watching on Twitch, we're going to start watching some of this footage.
I get punished for hitting that up smash, because guess what? He option select attack.
So see, this is kind of where Leffen's argument is coming from, is that in a lot of these circumstances where you would want, or you know, you would want to soft press if you get grabbed or something, it turns out that if you get hit by a move, you get an instant tech on the ground. You see that? And Red Fox is actually going to be able to punish the White Fox for going for an up smash here, which is kind of crazy. Look at that shit. I'm going to show you guys exactly what he's talking about. This is a concrete example. You got to love that melee music. Concrete example of what Leffen's talking about. Let me show you guys right here. Concrete example. All right. I'm big left, so I'm White Fox. All right. Right, like that. Right, hard press. Sorry, I hit him. Soft press. Well, soft press holding down would be like that. See that? And that's bad, because he can jab reset me. None would probably stomp again. None does stomp there. I don't know. You're dead, okay? You're gonna die. You're gonna fucking die. It's gonna be miserable. You're gonna get clipped. You're gonna get put on Twitter. Leffen's not. Leffen's gonna tech the fuck out, okay? That's the argument. That is the argument. Now that we've seen why you might want to hard press L-cancel, let's look at Hax's dissertation, because I also think that, you know, Hax is raising some good points. I have some examples of my own to bring to the table. We're going to take a look at that in a little bit. Buttons on screen. Yeah, I could have put the buttons on screen, but I already closed out of Dolphin. I don't want... Do I have to show you guys again? You can just believe me, right? Anyway, let's take a look at Hax's video. The best way to L-cancel. Not the video you got, not the video everyone had on their mind the other week. We're done with that video. We're moving on. We're moving on. We're talking about this video now.
To recap the video, let's quickly go over all the pointers you'll need to keep in mind when L-canceling.
All right, recap. Let's watch the recap.
First, you'll want to remember that hit lag is your friend when L-canceling. As long as your last frame of hit lag...
I can't not full press my L-cancel. GG standard who can. Look, I hard press L-canceled when I learned how to do it, when I started playing the game. I heard about soft press L-canceling sometime in like 2009 or 2010. Maybe later, in fact. Maybe it was like 2011. And I want to say it took me about 2 days of practicing to almost fully swap over. It really doesn't take that long. If you sit down and you just grind it out in like L-cancel practice, you can probably learn how to do it in like 2 days. And it does not take that long.
Frames of your landing lag, you can input an L-cancel at any point during hit lag and it will succeed. If hit lag would resolve earlier than that, then you'll have to input an L-cancel after hit lag. Secondly, you'll want to make the most of your 20 frame tech window. The way this should be done depends on the situation. Generally, it is good to input a tech on the last frame of landing lag in order to maximize the amount of actionable frames that you carry the tech window for. However, if you believe that you'll be hit during landing lag, then you'll need to time your tech for earlier than that. In theory, the best frame to input a tech in this situation is the first frame of landing lag, since you can only ASDI down tech starting on the second frame of landing lag and later. On a practical level though, you'll probably want to time your tech for a few frames earlier than each of these theoretical frames. You'll also want to make...
Would you believe me, by the way, if I told you right now that I have pretty much come to the end of the hacks video? We also saw all of Leffen's arguments, and I still don't think that either video addressed the other side's arguments. More on that in a second.
Make sure to never input a tech during a hit lag frame that isn't the final one.
Because what you got to remember about all this stuff is that this is very valid in the circumstances where your move is actually hitting. But Leffen's argument primarily applies to circumstances, I believe, and all of the circumstances he showed where you're getting punished and you're getting this kind of option selected tech. Leffen's examples all had to do with instances where you didn't go into hit lag because you're whiffing. And so ultimately, I think Leffen's argument is like the circumstances where these sorts of scenarios where you would want to be able to hard press L-Cancel and get an automatic, options like tech input. A lot of them have to do with whiffing, where the hit lag consideration doesn't even come up. And I would not be surprised if, well, I'm just going to watch the rest of the recap.
Will always fail if you do that.
1 minute left.
Based on the above information, we can draw the conclusion that digital L-Cancels are obsolete and that analog L-Cancels are equal or better than them in every scenario. This is because only analog L-Cancels are able to utilize the red frames for L-Canceling and the green frames for teching. Digital L-Cancels, on the other hand, can only utilize the overlapping yellow frames, which usually translates to smaller timing windows for both of these techniques. This also explains why the Z button should in fact be locked to the home row of the box, as it is.
And I have no opinions on anything button layout related.
Is in the customer.
Except that I really don't think that, I think just let them customize their layout, man. I don't know, what's the problem with that?
Customer's best interest to analog L-Cancel every time. Finally, you'll need to ASDI down with either the analog stick or C stick in order to hug the floor and tech against most moves. I haven't mentioned this step up until now, but luckily it's the easiest one, as there aren't any timings or lockouts to worry about. Hopefully this video has been helpful at teaching you how to optimize your shuffled aerials. By incorporating this information, you'll be able to enjoy higher L-canceling success rates as well as protect your character's landing with ASDI down techs.
And that's the video. So, just to summarize here, and I'm going to boot up Uncle Punch once again. Now that I know how to set it up, it's very easy. I'm going to boot up Uncle Punch again to show this shit off. The crux, we're going to show off both Hax's argument and Leffen's argument in one simple recording. So, I'm going to go into recording. Okay, so first let's show off Leffen's argument. Leffen's argument is... And I'm going to go ahead and also, I just know that the player percent should probably be somewhere around here. Just so we never have to worry about soccer angle stuff. Save positions. Record. And playback with loop. And this time, we're going to show off input display. If I nair at this Falcon that's spamming this option, and I get hit by the stomp, watch what happens if I soft press and I hold it, and I hold down. I get grounded and I miss my tech. Now, if I do a hard press, and this is where Leffen's argument, this is one of the examples he provides, I tech. Leffen's argument is that there are a lot of these circumstances where you would basically want to do a hard press L-cancel because, oh, I'm going to nair at this Falcon to punish this thing. Oh no, and that time I was actually true crouch canceling. See? You get an automatic tech. And Leffen is basically saying that there are a lot of these circumstances where you're getting basically whiff punished on some move that that you would want to, you're ASDI downing because you're looking for a shine after your Nair connects or something like that anyway. And then whoops, you might have gotten stomped by Falcon doing this Wizrobe stomp. You might have been, whiff punish up smash by a Fox. I'm not going to record this one, but imagine a Fox does this kind of thing, right? And I'm coming in, I'm approaching with a Nair or something, and the other Fox goes like that and whiff punishes it with an up smash, right? If you ASDI down and you're at a low enough percent, and that is important, by the way, if you're at a low enough percent and you ASDI down, and you do a hard press L cancel, you will tech, and you will actually even be able to get a punish. That is in his video. Now, let's show off Hax's primary argument. And I'm going to do this by turning the CPU into a Fox as well. All right, and for this one, we're just going to do CPU options, trajectory DI floor hug. We're going to do counter action ground. We're going to do down B. Oh yeah, and we're also, by the way, we're going to set him to 12, and we're going to... Yeah. There we go. So now we're going to get CC shine, right? So, if I go into frame advance, and we're just going to show this off one more time. So I'm going to input my hard press L cancel on this frame. I should show off my my inputs too. Input display on. So I am now going to input my hard press L cancel. And I'm going to now get shined. I'm not gonna get shined. I got Phantom shined? Why is this so fucking hard? I hate melee sometimes. God damn it. God, why, dude, fuck. There we go. I'm gonna get shined, right? Please tell me I get fucking shined. Hard press L cancel. But we're still in hit lag. We get shined. And what's this? Even though we hard press L canceled within 20 frames ago, even though we did a hard press L cancel within 20 frames of us hitting the ground like this, we missed our tech. And the reason we missed our tech is because of a phenomenon that Hax brings up in his video, which is the fact that in Super Smash Bros. Melee, if during the hit lag frames of a move, you input an L cancel or an R input or what have you, it will duplicate that input to all the subsequent frames of hit lag. And because I inputted, I believe it was the 4th out of 7 frames of hit lag, what actually happened was the game pretends that I pressed L on the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th frames of hit lag. And if you mash a hard press L button press like that, it'll lock you out of your tech. You can only input tech once. And so this actually locks you out of your tech, and this is bad. As you can see, the logic was, well, I'm doing a hard press L cancel for exactly circumstances like this. I want to be able to tech this. Imagine if this was a Peach doing a down smash. I would definitely want to tech that. I wouldn't want to not... If I miss the tech on the down smash, I'm going to take 50 damage. Right? So that is basically Hax's argument. Hax's argument, I mean, it extends beyond that. I'd say that the high level, the simple part of Hax's argument is just, well, don't lock yourself out of tech, lol, right? Just do soft L cancel so you never lock yourself out of tech. But the extended part of Hax's argument is you literally shrink the window that you can successfully tech and L cancel if you always hard press L cancel. Because if you do your hard press during hit lag frames... Exactly. You can still tech it if you soft press. Exactly. Right. Hax is saying don't do a hard press because it will mash the hard press for the rest of the hit lag frames and you'll get locked out. If you did a soft press there, you would be able to tech that shine. Because it doesn't matter that you are inputting a soft press L cancel for several frames of hit lag. The game doesn't lock you out of tech for doing that. It's only if you mash hard press. So here's the problem. First of all, neither one is strictly universal. Leffen's correct in the sense that, okay, so first of all, yes, I should start with Hax. Hax is correct. In theory, you should always just soft L cancel, never lock yourself out of the tech window, and just choose when to tech, right? You should be able to, in that circumstance, that Fox example I showed you, in that Fox example I just showed you, where the Fox nared at the other Fox and then got crouch cancel shined, yes, the Fox doing the nair does get locked out of a tech if they input a hard press L-Cancel during hit lag. But here's the problem. Here's the problem. In practice, when I'm not going through frame advance, there's no fucking way, as the Fox doing the nair, I'm going to be able to say, oh, it looks like I'm getting crouch cancel shined, I better tech. So in practice, I'm missing that fucking tech anyway, even if I soft L cancel. You kind of have to make a decision. You kind of have to make a decision. Now, what you could do is do the aforementioned plink input. Plinking as in doing one input into another. You could decide kind of preemptively, because it's just too fucking fast. The amount of time it took to go into hit lag and see that the Fox was crouching and then to get crouch shined and hit the ground, that was for sure less than tournament practical human reaction time. For sure. In fact, it was like around the order of 15 frames. It might have even been, even if you were only looking for that exact thing, it was still probably too fast to do. Okay? So, no way are you going to actually... So, Hax is right. You are going to get locked out of your tech if you hard press. But what Hax is not telling you is that if you soft press and you say, all right, I'm not getting locked out of my tech for naring at this Fox, dude, you're not going to be able to react to the Fox crouching and shining you. And you're not going to be able to react to that and tech, certainly not reliably, right? And as you saw in practice, when I actually was not in frame advance and I did the hard press, I would sometimes kind of do my L-Cancel a little early, so I was making sure to not do the L-Cancel during the lockout window where I would get the tech lockout. And then I was actually hitting the tech. So I think ultimately, what's most illuminating to me about Hax's video is like, yes, there is this lockout window that happens if you hard press during that window. But my conclusion that I'm drawing for that, if I'm practically minded, like Leffen, is, okay, well then, what I should do is plink the input. Soft press to hard press. Plink if you're on a box, and if you're on a controller, what does that look like? I'm pretty sure, well, you can simulate soft pressing to hard pressing by soft pressing one trigger and hard pressing the other, I suppose, if you're like me and you took the spring out of your R button so you can only digital press. But I actually think that, practically speaking, on a GameCube controller, a soft press to a hard press that's just a hard press. For me to hard press my L button, I have to go through the soft press area. So that is basically plinking. Every time you hard press your L button or R button on a game controller, you're basically plinking soft press L cancel to hard press L cancel, which is kind of why I think Hax and Leffen are kind of talking over each other. I think ultimately, Hax is correct. You are locking yourself out of some techs, but Leffen is basically saying you're not going to be able to react to those techs anyway, bro. Do a hard press so you get a tech sometimes. And it turns out that, anecdotally speaking, it turns out that those circumstances come up more often than not. This is where, if Hax and Leffen were a little bit more... I guess I should say Hax for this one. Well, I mean, both of them in a way. I don't really 100% feel like either one of them fully... like engaged with the other's arguments, particularly on L-canceling. Not that I think that they ought to have, because I think that there was a lot of vitriol going around, and I mean, Lord knows, especially after this evidence nonsense, like, it got very loaded. Let's say it got very loaded, okay? It got very loaded, but here's where I think two more diplomatically minded labbers of the game might have said, oh, interesting, you're bringing up some good points. All right, so let's say we should hard press every time, but now I'm thinking maybe you should plink it. Plink a soft press into a hard press so you don't get locked out. Who knows? We don't live in that reality, okay? We live in the reality where that's not what happened, okay? Which is why I'm here. I'm here to tell you I think there's a little bit more than meets the eye. Lastly, let me give you my own personal conclusions, because this is where I'm going to take things one step further. Let me show you guys an example from a real match I have, where I want to demonstrate to you guys, because I played some matches yesterday with the explicit intent of like finding instances of myself getting locked out from the tech window. And let me show you what I think some practical takeaways from this would be. This is from a match I played yesterday against Elysian Ray. Found her on Slippy Unranked. Follow her on Twitch. She streams. So watch what happens here. See that? Look again. See that? Look at me short out back airing like a fucking idiot. Alright, maybe it wasn't the best thing to do. Maybe I should have shield drop back air instead. But I wasn't primed to shield drop back air because I used the axe method and I wasn't holding forward on my stick. So I say, okay, well, I don't know, I'll go for a... Was this the best back air in the world? No, but watch what happens here. This is with a hard press. I did a hard press back here and look what happens. Can I do frame advance? Yes, I can. I go for a back here, and she's shield dropped. She is just shield dropped. Let me even go back to really demonstrate. So she's in her shield. She's going for a... So I see the shield, and I'm like, okay, cool. Let me... I think what happened was I might have seen the shield, and I decide, time to pressure this shield. I'm going to go for a short out back air, and then maybe fall through the platform with the back air and go on. But she immediately shield drops out of the shield. I haven't reacted to that, because it's, you know, whatever. And now I'm getting shield drop up here. I have hard pressed L-Cancel at this point. I'm flying through the air. I'm flying through the air, and you know what happens next? I'm missing my goddamn tech. This was with the hard press, okay? So Leffen's argument is that circumstances don't seem to arise very often where you actually get locked out if you're a fast follower with a hard press tech. I disagree with Leffen's conclusion. I don't think that's true at all. In fact, it happened again this match. It happened right around, let's watch for a little bit. It happens later in the same match. Where are we? 150? Yeah, it's going to be in the next 10 seconds. What do you think's going to happen next? What do you think's going to happen next? That's right. I'm missing my tech. I'm like, oh, I've shined her towards the ledge. If I'm fast enough, maybe I can calmly shine to a nair and like bully them off stage. They're probably not looking for an SDI down here. It's like, this is like a mango style combo where you go for like wave shine nair. Yeah, if they're reacting to your nair, they can ASDI down and maybe grab you and get a reversal. But I'm up enough that I feel like it's worth going for this. And this is pretty scary to go for too, because like, you know, if I just grab, it's kind of like the wrong thing. So I'm like, yeah, I'll go for nair here. And then I get bared. Oh yeah, I was going to do frame advance, right? So nair. I'm inputting my L-Cancel probably sometime around here. I've probably already input it, including attack. It's already well over 20 frames, by the way, since my L-Cancel input, probably. And then, of course, I missed the tech because I hard press L-Canceled. This is 2 examples in a single match that I found of me missing a tech because I hard press L-Canceled, right? This is 2 examples in the same match. This is literally 2 examples in the same match. So I disagree with Leffen's conclusions that it doesn't happen very often. I don't think it's true. Leffen will tell you that the circumstances in which you find yourself getting locked out because you did a hard press are few and far between. I mean, I got online, I played 5 games with Elysian Array. I, like, for one of them was like, oh, let me, like, try to notice times where I get locked on my tech. It's twice in one match. It's pretty common, I would say. You might notice, by the way, what percent am I at? I'm at 89. Earlier, if I can find it, I think it was around 40 seconds in the video. I was at 40-something, maybe? 46, right? So, what is my conclusion here? What is ultimately my conclusion? You guys are gonna hate this. I think that they both raise good points. I think that if the meta is to progress, this is what I'm trying to do. And I've talked about this on stream before. I am trying to actually implement both. I think I'm making progress because the last time I played AMSA said to me, Toph, you got a lot better at hitting techs. And I was like, I'm glad you noticed. And the reason for that, this is the methodology I'm currently operating under. And I am unfortunately, I don't have the strongest convictions yet because again, for as many instances I can find you of places where you might have wanted to soft press but you hard pressed and you got locked out. There are also instances where sorry, other way around, hard press, you wish you soft press, you got locked out, just like these. There are plenty of instances where you go for a soft press and you're naring into, again, think of Fox naring at a crouch canceling Fox and going for a shine. Yes, in theory, you are not locked out of hitting your tech on that L-cancel if you soft press. But in practice, you are never going to react. Almost never are you actually going to react to getting CC shined and and actually input a hard tech in time to tech that shine. That is not going to happen on purpose, okay? Just, I agree with Hacks in the sense that, like, try it yourself. Play Fox Dittos. See what happens when you soft press L-cancel while you're attacking a crouch cancel shining Fox. It is not a reaction that I think is feasible. I really don't. And that is where Leffen's argument is coming from. A lot of these circumstances come up where, and he might be right. It might be the case that the number of times you actually wish you hard L-canceled is more than the amount of times you soft L-canceled or wish you soft L-canceled. In my experience, the number ends up being very close to even. So what my personal conclusion is, and what I'm trying to do for my own gameplay, is I think that the bulk of these sorts of interactions, these ones that I just showed you in this gameplay footage, most of these happen at higher percents. So I think that Leffen's examples, and you might notice, by the way, coming back to the percentage thing, what was the important part about, remember one of Leffen's big examples in his video was, like, for example, was ASDI teching off the ground. Well, guess what? If you're at too high of a percent, you can't ASDI tech off the ground anymore. Leffen's hard L-cancel method is better when you're at lower percents. Because if you're at lower percents, in general, you can do more ASDI down tech stuff. If you get to high enough of a percent, you can't do things like ASDI down tech on a hard L-cancel press on a dash dance up smash that a Fox might do in the Fox Ditto with punishing your hard L-cancel nair. So Leffen's method is better in general at lower percents. Hacks' method of soft L-canceling, all of these circumstances I just showed you, I was like 50% or above. So I think that if I was to generalize and come up with the best of both worlds practical advice for people who really want to know where the fucking L-cancel meta is headed in 2023, 2024, I think that at low percents, there's a very strong argument that at low percents, you should hard L-cancel because you'll get into a lot of those scramble scenarios that Leffen talked about. And at higher percents, going for things like this nair, it's going to come up in about 10 seconds. This one right here. Higher percents, circumstances like that, you should be soft L-canceling. Because you're going to get hit through the air. Think about, you know, maybe you're nairing into a Samus. And the Samus crouch cancel down tilts you. And you fly through the air a little bit and then you pop up on a platform at 50 or 60%. Well, you're going to miss that tech if you hard L-cancel. But you'll hit it, you'll be able to hit it rather, if you soft L-cancel because you won't be locked out of your tech window. Or even the stuff that Leffen brought up in his own video, getting dash dance grabbed by a Fox or something like that. I mean, yeah. I think there are circumstances where soft L-cancel for sure is better. I think there are circumstances where you would want to option select attack with what Leffen is calling the hard press. I think that there is a very real case that what Leffen really means by always hard L-cancel is plink a soft L-cancel into a hard L-cancel. Which is kind of what Hacks is advocating. I would not be surprised that part of Leffen's argument for why he thinks the box button layout should be different is because he wants to do that plink as easily as possible. Or something. I haven't really seen, I actually don't give a fuck about any of the box button layout stuff. I don't play with the box, I play with the gaming controller. So I didn't pay that much attention to that stuff. But I would not be surprised if part of the, like, even taking into account Hacks' video, where he's talking about how you would want to do an L-cancel during the L-cancel window and then the earliest possible hard press tech. Even taking into account the stuff that Hacks was saying himself, I still think it might be a good idea, potentially. Not that I care, because for me personally, I don't think plinking from one or another is that hard, but maybe I'm just built different. I get the argument that you would want to have them on the same row to make plinking easier, because most people like to plink with buttons on the same row. Again, I'm built different, so I don't give a fuck. I can plink from one row to another just fine using my thumb and my pinky. Sue me. But yeah, I would say that this is interesting to think about. I would say that there are some really, yeah, I think that, my takeaway after kind of my own experiences, the research I've done is, and Leffen even agrees with me, right? Leffen even agrees with me. Let me bring this up. I agree that percent specific stuff, L-canceling and such can definitely be good. My main argument is simply that hard pressing is much better to default to, especially for non-spacies. I get that. Leffen isn't talking about what's optimal. He's talking about what's practical. And from my own experience, I can only ever tech Fox's crouch cancel shine when I nair at him with a hard press. Because when I hard press, yes, sometimes I do the L cancel during hit lag and I get locked out of the tech. But at least some of the times I don't and I actually get a tech. With soft press, I'm never going to hit that tech because I can't react to it. And I promise you, your favorite player probably can't react to it either, because you're going to hit the ground within 15 frames probably of hit lag. And that is too fast to react to something that you're not explicitly looking for. And the average player, when they're narrowing in, I would argue that even if you could react to it by dedicating all of your mental energy to looking for the crouch cancel, you will miss other hit confirms. You will miss opportunities to get bigger punishes off your nair, because you won't be ready to do things like nair turnaround up tilt if they happen to be in the air, or they don't hit the crouch cancel, or if you whiff. Exactly. Like, you can't say, oh, you can react to it if you're looking for it, because it means you're not looking for other things, and you won't be able to get better hit confirms like nair grab or nair up tilt if you're only looking for, oh, did they crouch cancel or not? I promise you guys this. I fucking promise you guys this. Backed up by frame data. And you can try it for yourself. Go to humanbenchmark.com, do a reaction time test, divide that number by 16.67. That's your reaction time if you're looking for an exact, specific fucking thing. And if you have to account for more than one thing, you better realize that number goes way up. Okay? Now, those are my conclusions. Let's summarize one more time. 1, soft press is better sometimes because you get techs that you wouldn't have gotten otherwise. Same for hard press. 2, Leffen is correct in the sense that there are a lot of circumstances where option selecting tech is good. I would add that a lot of those circumstances tend to happen more at lower percents. 3, I would add that Hacks is certainly correct. I think Hacks brings a very interesting piece of data to the table, or information to the table, with the hit lag lockout stuff. If you input a hard press during your hit lag, you will get locked out of tech. I would add to that, however, that Hacks is missing one part of the picture, which is that, yes, you don't lock yourself out of your tech, but you're not gonna react and get that tech anyway. So you probably have to do an option select anyway, which brings me to 4. I think the actual end result of the Hacks versus Leffen argument, if they talked it out like gentlemen and they actually came to the ultimate conclusions of each other's arguments, I actually think they would arrive at the same ultimate result probably, which is that the actual optimal thing to do is input a soft L-cancel press and then plink it to a hard L-cancel press a few frames later. Which again, on the GameCube controller, is basically just pressing the fucking L button as hard as you can. And 5, my own personal takeaway for my own gameplay, and I encourage all of you to try stuff like this for your goddamn selves. What I will be doing, and what I have been doing, and Amsa, who I think is a very pertinent person to bring up, because if you've noticed, if you watch any Amsa versus Spacey's gameplay, a lot of Amsa's punish game has to do with locking people out of tech. Have you noticed? Like, tech traps are a big part of Amsa's punish game. If you miss a tech against Amsa on FD, what happens? Jab reset, double jump cancel up air, double jump cancel up air, double jump cancel up air, or sorry, jab reset, Sometimes double jump cancel out up air, but usually double jump cancel forward air first to pop you up, then double jump cancel up air, then double jump cancel up air, then double jump cancel up air, then nair, then down smash, right? That's like the quintessential AMSA FD combo. So if AMSA is saying that he thinks my techs have gotten better, I'm taking that with a very high amount of credence, if you will, right? What I have been doing is I've been trying to do, again, more hard L cancels at lower percents and more soft L cancels at higher percents. But on top of that, I think that ultimately, oh, and there are more takeaways, by the way. I think Leffen's example of hard L canceling during shield pressure, so that if they shine you out of shield, you tech the shine. I think that's very valid. You're never going to be able to react to the opponent shining you out of shield during your shield pressure. If you guys fight Samus, you guys have probably experienced this. Tell me, some of you Spaces players in chats, you shield pressure a Samus. They up B you out of shield. You're a hard presser. You hard L cancel every day of your fucking life. And they up B you out of shield, but you fucking ground tech that shit and you get to punish their up B. You ever seen that? You ever seen that? Back in the day when I used to hard press L cancel, I got this shit all the time. I don't get it anymore because I usually soft L cancel. That shit actually happens. You go for a hard press L cancel on your shield pressure on a Samus, and you fucking accidentally tech the ground. You're like, what's she doing up there? Cool, up here, you're dead. That's a thing. That is a fucking thing. Yes, it is true that if you hard press L cancel, if you soft press L cancel, you might lock yourself out of that tech window if you input your hard L cancel during the hit lag. But you're also never gonna be able to react to the up out of shield. You're not gonna react to up out of shield. And be like, oh shit, time to fucking time to tech. I guess she's up being like, dude. You're not gonna. Who cares if you lock yourself out of the tech window or you don't lock yourself out of the tech window? Your reaction time's not good enough to take advantage of it anyway. So, like, that's why I think ultimately, like. Yeah, I just think that, like, dude, I don't know, man. Someone had to do this fucking stream. Someone had to do this fucking video.